Okay, I think you guys can hear me now. Sorry about that. Amy will be back in just 1 second. How's everybody doing down in the chat? I had a little audio glitch here going on. Here's Amy. What's up, Amy? Can you guys hear me? I don't think. What in the world? Okay, my mic says I'm working. You guys can hear me. We can't hear Amy. Let me get her a new link. One moment. You can tell it's been a while since we've been on here, right? I'm about done with StreamYard, if I'm being honest, because it seems that we always have issues all the time. Give me just a moment to get her this link, and then I will see what you all are saying. All right, she's got the link. Hey, Seek Justice. Hey, Darwin, Manda, Texas girl. Hey, Glowing Ember and Hybrid Pisces. So many familiar faces. Hey, Car Guys 72. And Amy is back. Let's see if her audio works now. Do you have sound, Amy?
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? So strange.
I don't think you can hear me.
I can't. You can't even hear me.
Because I can't hear you.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave and come back, and Amy can hang out. I'll be right back. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yay! I can.
Yay.
Much rejoicing.
Yes, I think it was a glitch at my end, of course. Number one rule here, no matter how you feel about any other channel creator, we ask that you do not discuss it down in the chat. So please, no talking about other creators, whether it's good, bad, ugly, nice, whatever you have to say. We just don't discuss other creators here. We aren't that channel. We're not here for that reason. If you weren't aware, sorry, we didn't announce it right away. I did have a comment up at the top of the chat, but we just choose to not engage in that. So, with that said, what's going on, Amy?
Well, with that said, I'm going to break a rule.
Okay.
That's okay. Because you got this message too, but you were trying to get me on here. I just got a message for anybody that listens to Carolyn on Mommy Ramblings blog that her husband just posted that he said, "This is Jimmy. Please pray for Carolyn. She will be having the toughest time of her life. I'll make sure she gets a personal message to you ramblers later or tomorrow. She will need all of you in the near future. Much appreciated, Jimmy." And from what I can gather, she was on a live and she said, out of nowhere, my oldest son is dead. I have to go.
Oh my gosh.
So
Oh, that's horrible.
our heart breaks for Carolyn.
Oh,
We respect her
yes,
immensely.
we do.
And so I want you all to keep her in your prayers and your thoughts. And I just wanted to say that because I think it's going to start to buzz around in a few minutes. She's,
Oh,
yeah, this is what she said. I have to go. My son is dead, and ended her life.
oh my gosh.
So it's
So
horrific.
sorry, Carolyn. There's no words, but
There isn't.
sending lots of prayers and love and light her way. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So, um, and thank you for the person that sent that over to us so that we could send her our well wishes. So I don't mean to be
Oh.
a damper on it, but
No, no, I think it's important to let people know since it was a public post, and we
mm-hmm.
know a lot of people follow her as well that come to our channel, and I'm heartbroken for her. That's so sad.
Me
That's so
too.
sad.
And I'll be honest, when I was, before I even knew Danielle, when I started following Watts, she was one of the people that I went to. I spent a lot
Oh,
of time listening to her, and yeah. So
wow.
yeah.
That's
So
horrible.
it
So sorry,
is
Carolyn. So sorry.
very, 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 yeah, heartbreaking.
Okay,
So
so her her exact words, I have to go. My son might be dead. Okay. Well, whatever's going on with her, she's a mother
mm-hmm.
and something is not okay with her son. It sounds pretty serious, if not dire. And our thoughts and prayers are definitely with her.
Yes.
Definitely. I can't imagine.
No. No. I mean, she's mommy.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a mommy like a lot of us. And
mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's
So
sad.
it is. And on that note, I will say that if you hear us giggle later on in the live, we're not being disrespectful. It's how we deal with stress mostly.
Yeah. I think, I find it really sad that we have to even give these disclaimers. I'll go ahead and give my normal disclaimers because sometimes I sniffle because I have allergies. I have two huskies that are bouncing around in the background half the time, and I have two very active sons who are in and out of the area where I stream from. So hey, real life is going on in the background all around us, and we're all real people. And I think it's important for all of us to remember that we're
mm-hmm.
not we're not characters on a show. Where there's real people behind these voices. There's real people behind these channels, and
And we're not pretending to be CNN broadcasting from a professional studio. We are who we are, and it works for us. I have a bird in the background, a
yeah,
wild one.
yeah.
So it is what it is.
Oh, a lot of you guys were in her live when that happened.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's sad. So sad. Definitely sending her prayers and well wishes and hugs and love and positive vibes, all the good things, and praying that whatever has happened is gonna be okay. I don't know the situation.
You have our love and support. Just
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's the bottom line. That was very I hesitated whether or not to mention it, but I figured it would come up in the chat and it was better to just do it
Yeah,
from the
yeah. I
get-go.
think that's a fair thing to mention. I think a lot of people watch a lot of channels, and that's a very serious, sad thing that's going on. And
That is.
Carolyn is very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So, on that note, what's up, everybody? We've been gone for a little over a week. Well, not gone, we're always around, but we haven't been on here in a little while. So we thought we would chit chat with you guys tonight.
We are trying to find our quarantine groove, I guess, would be the way to put it.
Yes, the quarantine groove. This quarantine is getting ridiculous. I'm tired of it. So
It is.
but on a positive note, the sun's shining. Well, it's not now, but it was. It was shining today, and spring is here. And
we have our health.
yes, we have our health. We all have many blessings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think tonight we're going to discuss something we haven't really touched base on before, and it was because prior to May 2nd, this person was a minor. And I actually made a rule that we would not speak about her until she was a legal adult. So tonight we're going to talk about Harley. Not talk about Harley. Discuss some interesting things that we have put together or just questioned ourselves when it comes to Harley and T's relationship and all of the above. So yeah, some different, maybe some theories and just some questions.
Well, it's a topic that we haven't felt was morally right to discuss up until now, and so now the floor is open. So
yeah,
if
hold
you
on.
all have
Tracy L, I have to brush them daily, especially right now, and then when it switches from summer to fall because they're blowing their coats. And you guys, it's disgusting. The dog hair is unreal. Like vacuum twice a day. I walk out of the house with a lint roller.
Well,
It's crazy.
You're civilized. I don't have a lint roller. Well, I can't keep one, sustainable.
Well, if I'm being honest, I lose it half the time. But so yeah, there's not really any new info concerning Harley. There's just some really interesting information within the affidavit concerning Harley. I don't know where you want to start, Amy, but
well, maybe we could just kind of recap, what we know about Harley and what little we've seen of her. I mean, of course, we've all seen her little short clip in the Spencer Wilson interview, but
correct.
She has some YouTube videos, and she's a very soft-spoken young lady. She almost whispers. She has a very childlike voice. If you read into psychology, there's people that have opinions on why that would be, like why some children speak like that.
Oh yeah, that was one of the opinions I had, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That very meek and timid and seemed very groomed.
Mm-hmm.
And walked on eggshells, and to me that was a sign of possible abuse. I wasn't saying that she was abused, it was something that I had just noticed.
Right.
Like I saw a girl who was scared of her own shadow for some reason.
Well, very timid and very probably compliant, keep the peace, don't ask questions, just do what you're told, and you're left alone, stay quiet, fly under the radar, those type of things. And you find a lot of children that are in abusive situations tend to be like that. But as long as I'm quiet and keep to myself, I avoid the environment around me. And I find it very interesting that even when she does these videos and she's in her room, she's speaking very softly. And when I first started watching those videos, I thought, well, it's because there's other people in the house and maybe like a little kid would run in wanting to be on camera or something. But then I noticed that she talks very quietly in her car. When she's vlogging in her car, she speaks in the same soft tone. When she's hiking with her mom in the group, it's the same tone. The only time I saw her being a little bit more boisterous was when she was interacting with Lena. There was a period where Lena said she didn't like the hike or something like that. And she was like, or no, Lena says, I'm mad. And Harley said, why are you mad? And she almost sounds like Letitia right there. But it was the only time I ever really heard her use like a full vocal level. And
Yeah.
so can see her as being just a very compliant, go with it, don't ask questions, don't get in trouble type of young woman. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight, because she had a lot of interactions on January 27th, around about the time that we believe that Gannon died. And we wonder what she knows and what she doesn't know.
Yeah, so this is the number one thing that sticks out to me. I pointed this out earlier when we were talking. This is just it's a huge red flag to me, because we know from the arrest affidavit that there was a blood stain in the garage. We know from the arrest affidavit that Tisha, after the video footage that we saw of her returning home with Al's truck, where she backed the truck up, there's obviously more footage of that. And when police officers responded to the home that night for her call of Gannon being a runaway, when officers responded, Tisha's Tiguan was backed into the garage. And on page 23 of the affidavit, number 145, it specifically states, on Tuesday, January 28th, 2020, between 8:48 a.m. and 8:54 a.m., Letitia instructed Harley to, and these were the instructions quoted, pull your car in the garage via text message, presumably to temporarily cover up any potential evidence left behind. To be clear, Harley had her own vehicle that was mentioned above in paragraph 13, specifically a Volkswagen Jetta. So this is a problem that I have, that a question that I have. If there was noticeable blood on the garage floor, and T initially covered that with her Tiguan, and then she took her Tiguan right on the 28th and she left it at the airport so she could get a rental car.
Right.
When Harley pulled her Jetta in the garage, wouldn't Harley have seen the blood on the garage floor that the investigators found?
Yes. You would
That's
think
a huge problem in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah.
if investigators found it, and Tisha had already covered it up once by pulling her Tiguan in and backing it up when law enforcement arrived. I mean, it's
all odd too, because I think when you live in a car, sorry, I think when you live in a home with multiple vehicles, there's kind of everybody parks pretty much in the same place all the time.
right.
You know, depending on how your driveway is set up. And so it's not, so for your mother to, if your car is not usually in the garage and your mom's taking her car and getting a rental car and she's asking you to pull yours in the garage, you know, what I find interesting is that we know that she sent the text, but we don't know how Harley responded to that. Apparently she just did it.
Right. Marissa, it's assumed that Harley was at home because we know Harley came home from work on Monday the 27th. AJ, AK Audrey, you can email us at wickedtruths@wtaf.net.
This was Tuesday morning between 8:48 a.m. and 8:54 a.m.
Right. There is the possibility that after investigators left the house on Monday night, we don't know what time they really left the house.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a possibility that Tisha got out there and cleaned the blood stain. That's a possibility. But there's other things. There's other things too that are alarming. And I truly believe that Harley lives in fear of her mother. She was groomed by her mother.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had suggested the whole loyalty thing to me, you know,
Yes.
that
Well,
maybe,
with certain personality types, you raise your children to be beholden to you, not because you're building a trustful long-term relationship to you, but because you're utilizing that to your advantage.
right.
And I believe that was how T raised Harley.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I shared with you on the phone right before we went live tonight, and we discussed this a little bit, but um there is a scenario where T could have convinced Harley that she was involved, even if she didn't have to do any, even if she didn't have anything to do with Gannon's actual death.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first time, like maybe she pulled the car in the garage to cover a blood stain, she was involved. And now
Right.
you have to roll with it, or you're going to ruin everything you did in your life, and you're going to ruin my life, and I can't help you. And we're the only two people we have in this world. And, there's a whole weird psychology that goes on with people like Letitia. Not that I'm diagnosing her, because I can't, and I'm not putting a label on her either. I'm just saying there's a dynamic there of control and manipulation. And if she did it with everybody else, you've got to assume that she did it with her own child.
Right. Yeah, definitely. You definitely have to assume that she did it with her own child. Exactly, Tracy L. Fear and loyalty due to that fear. Yeah, that made
Mm-hmm.
that. I see that. I see that. And I think it's very sad because I do believe that Letitia put her daughter in a terrible, terrible situation. I think
I think she brought her in there because it helped her, and she had a loyal accomplice. Even if I'm not saying an accomplice in the commission of a crime, but in the concealment
right,
of the
right.
crime.
I will address this comment because I'm really, to be honest with
Uh-oh.
you, I'm fed up with
Where
seeing
where
it.
is it? Where is
Star
it?
St. Cloud, are you guys the group that leaked the affidavit picture? People are saying that. So this is the thing. We didn't leak anything. This wasn't taken from an illegal for anywhere illegal. We know where it came from. We know who it was sent to, and we know who gave it to us. We have nothing to hide. We didn't leak anything. We didn't do any magical work on this photo. It's not that. So the
Yes.
gossip and the misinformation needs to just stop.
Right.
We
We
didn't leak anything.
no.
Amanda,
We
Texas girl, is down there in the chat. She's one of our mods. She saw it happen. Car guy down there is one of our mods. He saw it happen. So,
right. And we have decided to protect the anonymity of the person that gave it to us, just because they don't want to be in the spotlight. But if we are called to task by law enforcement, we have a good digital trail
it's not,
established.
yeah, the thing is that
Yeah.
it's not leaked.
It's not leaked, and it's not illegal.
Right.
So, and the photo hasn't been manipulated in any way at all.
Right.
It was
Right.
given to us just the way you see it, and it's, yeah. So sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit, but um yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
if that's all you wanted to know firsthand, then asked and answered, and we'll move on.
Now
You're
we've cleared that
welcome.
up.
Yeah, you're welcome. So no big deal.
Absolutely, Catherine B. The truth and the digital trail shall set you free. We have nothing to be set free of. We did
Mm-mm.
nothing wrong. We didn't. That person who leaked that information or who leaked that affidavit itself, she was never even in our group. She was in a lot of other Facebook
Mm-mm.
groups, but not ours. We never had any interaction with her, no contact with her. Didn't even know her name till yesterday. So,
Right. And what she did was illegal.
Right.
So, and really senseless. I mean, like
Right.
we can just talk about that for a second. Absolutely senseless. That affidavit was going to be made public anyway. There was a date set for it. And just like they said at the press conference yesterday, the reason in the delay was so that the family could review it and have their questions addressed and have their privacy digesting that before the public saw it. It was a courtesy to the family. So why anybody would leak that is beyond me, but she did. So
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why she leaked it. I think she made a poor decision, obviously, and she ruined a career over it. And
Lufa's gonna make a margarita. I love it when y'all are serious and one person is like, oh,
yeah,
I think I want pizza.
yeah.
You guys are funny. So what does Arrow Joe say? Because you're making some good comments and I haven't seen your name before. So if you've been here before, I just don't recognize you and I'm sorry. But excellent point about how T got Harley's cooperation. She certainly scared Harley into believing Harley was already complicit in the eyes of law enforcement and the court of public opinion. You just have a way of stating things that's really nice to read. And Tamara, you made a live. Yay.
Hey, Tambra. Yeah.
Oh. So
My mind wanders too, Lufa. It does.
Danielle and I both have like shiny ball syndrome, like look, squirrel.
Right, right. So back to Harley.
Yes.
I feel bad for her. I do. I feel like her mother, I don't even want to call her a mother. She doesn't deserve that title. She doesn't. Because a mother doesn't murder a child, and a mother does not hurt their other children emotionally or do the damage that she has inflicted by murdering Gannon. I don't think she's worthy of the title mother, but hey. And that's where I feel bad for Harley because I feel like she was under T's control.
Definitely. She was her unwilling. I hate using the word accomplice because it makes it sound like I'm saying that she helped kill him. I don't believe that. I do believe that she either, I think in a lot of ways she inadvertently helped her mother cover her tracks because she just didn't ask questions or she just went along with it.
Or she
Because
was
what
scared. She could have been
well
scared to ask questions.
that's what I mean. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. I mean, what else was she going to do? I mean, where are you going to go? You
Right.
already have a kid in your house that's disappeared.
Right.
In your mind, you're like, he's dead. My mom was with him. What, 2 + 2 = 4. I don't want to end up there. If
Right.
I think we talked about this one night, about children that go to the police or ask a teacher for help. If it doesn't work out and you've got to go back to that parent,
Right.
that's a terrible place to be. And I don't think that would have happened in Harley's situation, but I can see Letitia, saying nobody's going to believe you. You're already in this. Nobody's going to. They're going to put you right in jail. You won't go to the Air Force Academy. You know what I mean? I can imagine this dialogue. Nobody's going to believe you.
Right.
Nobody's going to believe you.
Right. Anyways, so it's just I mean, did he bully her? Did she bully her into
Well, I think when you're a parent and you're a position in authority, it's not even bullying. It's a direct order.
right?
You don't have a choice.
Right.
Now, there's semantics in there too because there's also knowing the difference between right and wrong. And like I said, in her, like, I sit here and I think, well, if she was really scared, she could have gone to Al, or she could have gone to the police and said, my mom had me do this. I don't know what's going on. But I don't think that was an option for Harley.
Right.
I think in a lot of ways, even though she was, whoa, that was weird.
Sorry.
That's
That was
okay.
me.
That's okay. I think, I think in a lot of ways, Harley had her life laid out for herself. She had plans. She had worked hard. She had graduated early. She had this job. She was getting ready to go to the Air Force, blah, blah, blah. But I think emotionally she was immature.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that played right into T being able to absolutely control her.
Right.
She, it was like that. That umbilical cord was never cut.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Crazy sexy hair. Do you think it's possible for Harley to get charged with anything?
I do.
Do you?
Well, I told you earlier, there's like two scenarios that go on in my mind. One is that, you know, they make a deal with her because she was compliant in some of this, and they would, threaten to charge or, accept this deal and testify as state's witness.
Mm-hmm.
Or if she has lied continuously and for a long period of time, getting the opportunity to tell the truth, they could wait until now, you and I talked about this before. You can charge a 15-year-old as an adult. You can.
Right. Right.
But maybe just on a technicality, they let Harley cruise on the way they let Letitia run her mouth and sink her own ship.
Right.
And at 18, they come to her and say, okay, here's what we've got.
Right. Right. I mean, we know that she refused an interview with law enforcement, but at that time that she refused that, I'm going to try to find that, what number it is in
It's
the
number
affidavit.
48.
Okay. So number 48 in the affidavit. Let me get it in front of me, guys.
Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. It's at number 48. It's on page 6. It says, at or about 16:52 hours on January 27th, 2020, Letitia sent a message to Harley requesting carpet cleaner, trash bags, and baking soda. The items were likely used to clean up the murder scene. Harley purchased these items, and investigators located a receipt documenting the purchase. Harley Hunt has refused to speak with investigators.
So, at the time that she refused to speak with investigators, she was still under her mother's control.
Right.
You have to wonder if Harley was only doing what her mother forced her to do.
Right.
I mean, I'm getting old over here and I still listen to my mom. My mom's not abusive in any way. She's a great mother, so I don't want that to be misconstrued. She's my best friend. But when my mom
too.
Yeah, when my mom tells me to do something, I still do it. So I can't imagine being a child who's possibly been manipulated. There's rumors of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
There's, and you look at the person that T is, all the things that we've learned about her and her character. I can't imagine being a child with a mother like that telling me to do something or not to do something, because the fear would be overwhelming and you're going to
you're going to comply.
Right.
Harley was a smart girl. You're going to comply, or you're going to pay there'll be consequences.
Right. Lowy number, that's a good question. Lowy number said, wouldn't they need approval from parent for a minor to be questioned by police? It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a gray area because Harley had enlisted in the Air Force, right? Reserves, to my knowledge.
Right. Well, I think there, yeah, but I think there's a simpler explanation when you say, generally speaking, that would be true. I think it's different when you're questioning the child about their own parent and their parent is a suspect.
Right, right.
Hmm. But
So,
that wasn't all laid out then either. She hadn't been arrested, so you
right.
know, um,
Yeah, I mean, she could have simply been just not talking because her mother told her not to talk.
she's
Um, she
terrified.
is she is on the witness list for the prosecution,
Hmm.
and at the like Christy Wright has a good point by saying she may have started talking to law enforcement after what's her face was arrested. That's a very good point. That's very
Hmm.
possible. Um, we have a disadvantage here because the arrest affidavit only goes up to February 28th.
Right.
We are now on May 6th. So we are about 6 weeks, right?
Right.
No, more than 6 weeks. March,
Wait,
April,
March and
10
April. Yeah.
weeks. Yeah, 10 weeks past the arrest affidavit. And a lot has happened in between then and now. So we don't know.
Right. There's a lot of gaps.
Right. And Becky Boo has a good point. Right and wrong could change with abuse. That's true.
Right.
It's
Well,
true.
it is. And the other thing is that when we talked earlier about how soft spoken Harley was, she's obviously determined. She has good disciplines for herself. I mean, she's in good physical shape. She finished school early. She has a job. Like we talked about this. She has all these plans, but she with these kind of relationships, you crave the approval of your parent, and she only had one.
Right.
She
Right. Yeah.
only had one.
Well, yeah. And you have to also look at her as a victim as well because Al, I believe, did play a father role to Harley.
Mm-hmm.
And Gannon lost his life. He paid the ultimate unthinkable price because of this vicious, disgusting human being. At the same time, there's a lot of other victims. There's a trail of victims behind
Mm-hmm.
Keisha. There's there's like
Landon,
right, Landon, there's Lena,
Lena.
there's Harley,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean Harley essentially had her life as she knew it uprooted.
Right.
She was signed up to go into the Air Force Academy or the Air Force Reserves, I believe it was. If I have it wrong, don't crucify me. I don't have the notes in front of me, but she was going into the military. She had plans for the future. Um, then this horrendous thing happens with her little stepbrother, and her mom uproots her from Colorado and takes her across the country back to South Carolina. It's very, very, so she lost the father figure that she had.
Mm-hmm.
She, we don't know what she knew or what she didn't know. I would have to imagine that she probably had suspicions and fears of her own, but her life was completely flipped upside down as well.
Right. Right.
Somebody else has suggested that, Catherine B. That's a good point. You bet that the military was her time to
Her.
get freedom. Yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have suggested that. That's
Mm-hmm.
possibly Project Looking Glass. Harley is 18 years old now, so there's no adoption options there. I just, yeah, I agree with that as well, Tambra. Harley's not old enough to have the thought process of an adult yet. I agree. She's not. We can all look back at when we were 17 and 18 years old and we don't think the same. We didn't think the same then as we do now.
No.
There's scientific proof that your brain changes and it matures every 5 years. So the decisions you make at 17 won't be the same decisions you made at 22. When you make decisions at 27, they wouldn't be the same decisions you'd make at the age of 22. And it goes on throughout your life. Your
Well,
brain,
yeah.
your thought process constantly matures.
Well, there's also the idea that when you've had somebody making decisions for you your whole life and then they're gone one day, you don't have that experience, as opposed to other people, other children who do make decisions for themselves within the parameters of being a child. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I wear my hair this way because I want to. I pick out these clothes because I want to. I do this, I choose to play the violin because I want to, or whatever it is. But if you have a very controlling parent that's making all those choices for you and grooming you to be somebody like a mini me,
right,
you're not as equipped when the spotlight is on you and it's your time to try to figure out what to do. You don't have that confidence to make those decisions.
Right.
So I don't believe she had any choices. I believe she had to. It's disgusting. Can I just tell you something on a side note real quick?
Sure.
I watched her Spencer Wilson interview like, I don't know, 6 times today, just over and over again. And well, actually I wasn't watching it. I was listening to it. I was doing that thing. Remember when you did that little experiment with Shane Carey's interview and we stopped watching it and we just listened to it? So I was just listening to Letitia, and just talking about this tonight gets me so disgusted because her standing there talking about him and the things that they did, and she doesn't know where he is or whatever, and she had just killed him.
Oh, I know. It's disgusting.
I can't wrap my head around that. And then to drag your daughter into it, tell him. Just tell him he came home from work. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to digress. It's really gets makes me tense.
Oh, I totally get it. And Jessica Turner said, what if Harley has been staying quiet because she may have helped with hiding or moving Gannon's body? So that's a heavy question, but I think it's a fair question since we're discussing Harley. I do believe it states in the affidavit that law enforcement does not believe that Harley was involved. I would have to read it again, but I do remember reading that. If I'm wrong, maybe somebody can correct me. I think there's a high probability that Harley had some strong suspicions. I think there's a high probability that Harley was scared to go to authorities with those suspicions.
Right.
Now, when it comes to helping with hiding or moving Gannon's body, I don't know. Hiding it, I don't think so. I think T did that on her own. Moving it, I mean, is there a chance that Harley was riding with her mom across the country and this suitcase was in the moving van? I think there's a chance. I don't know the answers. I wish I did. But if anything, I don't think that Harley was complicit in it. I think She was most likely very suspicious, very afraid, and put in
Mm-hmm.
a very, very, very horrible situation on behalf of the woman who gave her life.
Right.
I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Amy.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I think she was in a difficult position. I don't think I don't have any basis or anything to back up that Harley had anything to do. I don't believe that Harley hid the body. Do I believe there's a possibility that ultimately she was around when it was either transported or discarded? There's nothing that makes me say a definite no.
Right,
So um it's just here, so a lot of times Danielle and I talk, like, before we go on a live, and we've talked throughout the week, and about our lives and about this case and about some other thing that somebody's watching and all kinds of stuff. But tonight, one of the things that came up and was that when Letitia was doing her back to the camera Spencer Wilson interview, he mentions that there was the caravan of cars. So it was Harley's car and the moving van and then the rental. The Nissan rental. Is that correct? Yeah, it was the Nissan, right?
but Harley's car was impounded, so
Okay. So then it's not Harley's car. So it was in
maybe her aunt's car because her
her
aunt was
aunt's car.
pregnant.
That's what it was. Okay. So, and I will go back and I will get his tweets and post them on the community page so that we're all on the
Okay.
same whatever. But anyway, Tisha immediately after that interview concluded, after she pulled her daughter in and had her daughter say on camera in front of the world, I saw Gannon, blah blah blah.
Well, she
Um,
coached her.
and
She told her what to say while the
right,
with the hot mic.
right, exactly. So she leaves and goes out to that area again because they had a tracker on that rental car. They
Right.
had gotten a warrant to put a GPS monitor on the car, and she went out to that area. And now they have the moving van, and there's a possibility that she knew Harley's not a dumb girl. But what are you gonna
Right.
do?
Right. Well, she is state's witness now. So
Mm-hmm.
I wish the best for Harley. I do. But then, and no buts, I do. Then I come back to I think there's a lot more to the story on what happened on the evening of January 26th. I kind of brought this up in our group. Things just don't add up. The text message that T took a picture of on the Apple Watch, there's people that believe that that is a message that T sent to Al, and there's people that believe that was a message that Harley sent to Letitia.
Right.
I lean that way. It doesn't make sense for Tisha to send that message to Al when he's in Oklahoma on training at almost 11 p.m. But it does make sense for Harley to send that message to Tisha, considering Harley and Gannon shared the basement. And you have to factor in other things, such as Al was out of town. On that same day, on January 26th, Tisha accessed her sugar daddy account when her husband was out of town.
Mm-hmm. Like the moment
I
he left.
right, right. The message said that Gannon, it said, don't freak out. Gannon turned a candle on in the basement. I don't have it verbatim. Let me pull it up. He's okay. He's fine. He's scared. Whatever. However, when you go through the affidavit, there's not one mention of a fire in that basement.
No.
Not one mention of it. Nothing. There's nothing
Mm-mm.
noted on the ADT information that they pulled. There's nothing noted about Tisha talking about a fire. That's not a story that she gave in her
Mm-mm.
police interviews.
No.
It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. And I don't know. I don't know what to believe about that, you guys. I have some mixed feelings about that. You know, it makes me wonder if obviously something happened Sunday night. Yeah, Amanda, the house smelled of coconut when the police arrived.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Their words were it smelled quite pleasant. I was described as smelling like coconut. Yeah.
right. I'm
Mm-hmm.
afraid that what we are going to find out is going to be much darker than what we could ever imagine. Um, and I believe that for a few reasons because of the 4 stories that Letitia told. They are
Mm-hmm.
very volatile stories. And all of her stories so far have had some kind of basis around something. So, and this is just pure speculation. This is just me guessing. I don't know this. But she accessed that sugar daddy account on Sunday. Why? Why do
Right.
you access your sugar daddy account?
Right. And why? Okay. Yeah. Tracy L, I think you're in my head because it's just about what I was going to say. Why do all of her stories, except for falling off the bike, all have, which is not the one that she told investigators. She told that to Al on February 14th, one of her many stories. But why do they all have a central theme of sexual violation or sexual assault? And in
Yeah.
the last one, she includes Gannon in it. They're both victims of
Mm-hmm.
it. Gannon, in one story, is her protector during the assault. In another one, he's actually being assaulted himself. So I do agree, based on everything we know about Letitia, and we said this a million billion times, you're probably sick of hearing it. There's a little bit of truth in every lie. Obviously, he hit his head. That's the bike story. Somewhere in here, I think we're going to find something absolutely unimaginable, horrific, and it's going to have to do with something along those lines.
Right. Right.
I
I
did I did find that 49 on page 6 is where they say investigators do not believe that Harley was present when Gannon was killed. Harley
right.
was at work on 1/27/2020, and it lists the time. And investigators were able to verify this with her employer. There is something that Danielle caught tonight, and we were talking about it right before we went on live. And it is, do you have your affidavit in front of you?
I do.
Okay. So, 22. It's at the bottom of page 3.
Mm-hmm. Letitia initially claimed that she last saw Gannon on January 27th, 2020, when he left their residence to play with his friends somewhere around 3:15 or 15:15 hours. Based on the facts outlined below in Letitia's statement to an EPSO dispatcher, Letitia is the last person to ever have saw Gannon alive. Letitia stated she attempted to find him at a neighbor's house and sent her daughter, Harley Hunt, to look for Gannon at a park.
There is nothing in the affidavit. They track Harley's movements in here. I mean, not track with a GPS. I can't say that because that's not, that's not what we're doing. But they later on they tell us exactly when she pulled in the driveway, exactly when she got a text message from her mom. That is not mentioned anywhere that Harley went to a park to look for Gannon.
Right. So there's questions about the sugar daddy. Do I think that a sugar daddy wanted to meet Gannon? I don't think that. I think that Tisha was with a sugar daddy on Sunday. I could be completely wrong. I could. But she logged into her sugar daddy account for a reason. Um, I don't know. I don't know what happened. But
So I'm going to say there's nothing, there's no concrete evidence, but if we're discussing this, that that could be a possibility. It could. We just don't
it,
know.
it could. It could. Yeah. Yeah. It absolutely could be a possibility. It's not something. I
I
guess
I
for
have
me,
trouble.
it makes me just like clam up even thinking about it. Like I
Me
just go
too.
like, oh gosh, no,
I was
please
just,
no.
yeah, I was just about to say that. I have a hard time, like I didn't even want to say like it's a possibility because I don't personally want to discuss it, not because I don't want to put my opinions on the line, because I do that all the time. It's because it's just something so disgusting that I don't want my mind to go there.
Right. Yeah, it's hard. I don't want my mind to go there either. I'm sticking with right now. I believe that Tisha was with a sugar daddy at some point on something on Sunday, and that's where all her sexual inferences come from in all her stories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a reason she didn't want a rape exam.
Right.
It's just,
Well, of course, she's generally speaking non-compliant. Anytime she's asked to produce, she won't, and then makes up a story. So, for instance, back when she was in violation of her teaching contract in the Carolinas, she could have produced something that said they were on it was a military move, but that's not what it was. She never produced a letter saying that because that's not why she violated her contract. So she's not going to take a state exam because she's not going to have anybody hold her, accountable for the statements she makes.
right. Yeah. Lufa, would you say she was having sexual relations with a sugar daddy? I believe that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And just the stuff that she said, I think it was her own reflections on herself and her own behavior, and she turned her own behavior into a story to fit her narrative when it came to Gannon being missing.
Mm-hmm.
I pray that's all it is. I do. It's
Yep.
hard for my mind and my heart to even think otherwise. I don't even want to think like that, and I know that that is narrow minded of me because
No.
I know the possibilities are there. I know that. It just physically makes me sick to my stomach.
Right.
Car Guy 72, I think that is a strong possibility that Gannon saw her with another man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
We
definitely.
discussed that. I think that is a
Yeah.
strong possibility.
And Tracy L. Uh, previously, she said, "Can't cops look into that history of the website?" Yeah, they can. They can subpoena for those records and what have you. The same way they did with, what was that? Like Ashley, was it Ashley Madison or something like that? Back when that whole scandal was going on. Of
Oh
course
yeah.
they can. Um, they may be listed on the witness list. I don't know if they're owned by another company or something, but always keep in mind that that witness list is ever changing and growing. So it it could be on there at some point.
Right. Right. Hold on one moment. I gotta type. I can't type and
No,
talk at the same time.
no, you're fine. So Marissa Anderson, what if Harley was babysitting and G spilled the candle? Harley texts T, T's sugar daddy date is ruined, and she comes home in a rage. that could work. That, I will not dispel that. I know. So one of the things that we talked about tonight was that Harley had, Tisha claims that I'm sorry, I just saw my dog do something weird. I didn't mean to laugh. Um, that Tisha says she sent Harley to the park to look for Gannon on that day, and we don't believe that's true. There's also something else interesting here. It says, okay, based on exterior video footage, Harley arrived at the residence in her white VW Jetta at or about 16:42 hours and picked up Lena. So this is that Monday. So that's 4:42 p.m. And then it says at or about 4:52 on January 27th, Letitia sent a text message to Harley requesting carpet cleaner, trash bags, and baking soda. These items were likely used to clean up the murder scene. Harley purchased these items and investigators located a receipt documenting the purchase. Harley Hunt has refused to speak with investigators. Next line is the line where they say, investigators do not believe that Harley was present when Gannon was killed. Harley was at work. They verified her work times. And then number 50, to be clear, investigators have not located any evidence that any person other than Lena and Letitia had access to Gannon between approximately 10 a.m. and 5:34 p.m. on 127/20. So that doesn't make any sense to Danielle and I, because it says that based on the video footage, Harley arrived home at 4:42. And
Right.
they're saying Harley didn't have access to Gannon between 10 a.m. and 5:34. So what do we think about that? Why are they saying that?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Not at all. It's very confusing. Um, sorry,
No,
distracted.
that's okay. It's okay. It just kind of makes us wonder, like, okay, Tracy, Al, I lost you. Did I lose anybody else? Okay. The police are saying that they haven't located any evidence that any person other than Lena and Letitia had access to Gannon between 10 a.m. and 5:34 p.m. on January 27th, 2020. 10 a.m. to 5:34. But they put in the affidavit that Harley arrived home at 4:42 p.m. They have her on camera arriving home. And she picked up Lena and took her to Dollar Tree. So that's strange.
Right, and you have to assume that after she returned home from the dollar store, she went in the house, she lived there.
Right.
That was her home.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, so Amy and Moore says, I think what you meant is Harley picked up Lena and did not get out of her car, and Lena went inside after school. So, yeah, maybe Harley just pulled up in the driveway and Tisha sent Lena flying out to the car. And that's what they're, and it's as simple as that. It could be. It really could be.
Right.
But
Yeah, it could be. I gotta catch up with comments. Why would T make up a story about her and Gannon and being sexually assaulted? That is a good question. Project Looking Glass. I don't know. I don't think we know.
no, okay, so
There's a lot of loose ends.
Yeah,
There's a
Cat
lot we
P
don't know.
says maybe they mean while he was alive. Um, we've had discussions like that before too. That maybe there's inferences in here, where they say they know Gannon came home that afternoon with
Right.
Letitia on or about 219. They don't necessarily say alive. So, you know.
Manda, Texas girl, I believe you're right. Manda said, I thought there was somewhere else that shows a 10-minute gap between when Harley got home and the time of text of what to buy. I believe you're right. We were looking at that right before the slide.
Right. But yeah, we were saying, because I even said to you, you have a teenage daughter, and instead of like telling them what you want to buy, you text them when they're driving another child around. Like,
Right. I mean, and
that's just
she
weird.
had to know to take Lena with her, right? There had to be
Right.
some type of interaction for Tisha to say, "Hey, Harley, when you get here after work, Lena's outside playing. Please take her with you." Or
Mm-hmm.
Harley would have had to gone in the house, and T would have said, "Hey, I need you to take Lena with you to the dollar store." There
Right.
had to be some type of
Well,
interaction there.
there is, and we found it. It's not going to give us all the information that we want, but let me flip over to that so that
People are questioning the vinegar while you're looking at that. Al made a statement that there was like a half a jug of vinegar in the house when he left, but there was more vinegar purchased. So my understanding is that the vinegar was used, right? The
right,
vinegar that was at the home when Al left for training was used, and then additional vinegar was purchased.
right. Goodness gracious. And heat it like under pressure. Oof.
That is very, very true, Amy.
What, honey?
Amy A. Moore commented and said, "Oh, I just sorry guys. Sometimes keep in mind that they state this is not
Mm-hmm.
all of their evidence they have. They keep a ton out of the affidavit per the affidavit. That is true. The
Right.
arrest affidavit actually has the bare minimum that law enforcement is going to release in order to secure an arrest. So there has to be. We know that there's way more than what we saw. They do that strategically because they don't want evidence getting out.
Right.
That's just part of the actual court process where the defense has to request the entire discovery and all of that.
You
It's
don't show all your cards at once.
correct.
Yep. I really, really thought that somewhere in here we had the text where Letitia. Oh, wait, maybe it is. Mm, she didn't buy. Well, we know she didn't buy the vinegar at the
Melissa
dollar store.
Melissa Reed, vinegar does stink while you're using it, but once it's dry, it neutralizes.
Right.
So it doesn't stink up your home actually after it's dry or wiped away.
Right. So yeah, so on 134 we did find the actual text messages that she sent to Harley. The interesting thing is she also sent it to like the property manager, which is odd.
Mm-hmm.
It went to Harley and then the lady that like coordinated the there's I get so frustrated when we mark things before we go online and then, or I mean, on the air, and then I can't find them and it gets me in a tizzy. So I'm going to give up in a second.
Jamie, Ann, you want to hear the interview again? I'll give you a link to Spencer Wilson's video. Um, I gotta find it. All right. I'll drop a link. It's to Plunder. She's got it on there with some of her narrative.
All right, I'm going to look at the chat. So, yes, code of many colors. So she sent the message about cleaning supplies to the property management. According to the affidavit, when they listed this off on records, if you go back and listen to this, or if you have access to the affidavit, it's on page 20. It's number 134, and it says, the below message appears to contain instructions from Letitia to Harley to purchase carpet powder, baking soda, trash bags on or about January 27th, 2020, 4:52 p.m. These messages are important because investigators believe the purpose of these items was to clean up blood from the murder of Gannon. This text message was also referred above in paragraphs 72 through 76. And so it lists the text message and it has a header participants, and it says Nicole, parentheses, owner. That this is how she saved, things in the phone. And then it says daughter, and it looks like there's like an emoji. And the outgoing message is very concise. It just says carpet powders, 2 things, comma, baking soda, comma, trash bags. That's it. Nothing else.
So where did
No
I get
reports.
that she purchased more vinegar? Did I imagine that? Because I could have.
No, we no, you didn't imagine that. It's in here too, somewhere, but she didn't get it from the dollar store, I don't think.
Okay.
I think she. All right, I'm going to look at something real quick and then I'm done on my little goose hunt here. Okay, I was wrong. So 72 says, within the Tiguan, a receipt from Dollar Store was located, time-stamped January 27, 2020 at 17:14 hours, and documented the purchase of trash bags, baking soda, vinegar, and the items listed in paragraph 74. So 74 says, also included in this dollar store purchase was baby oil, baby lotion, cotton rounds, and bubble gum. Investigators do not believe these other items were involved in the cleaning of the murder scene and likely have no investigative value at this point. So I got confused because this is a conversation that we had on a previous live, and Danielle brought this up. Letitia did not instruct Harley to buy vinegar in that text message that she sent. When she sent the text message, that was just the very, very concise one. It says carpet powders, 2 things, baking soda, trash bags. But Harley buys trash bags, baking soda, and vinegar.
So why did she buy vinegar if Tisha didn't instruct her to buy it?
Because maybe she knew.
Star Shooter's boy says she may have called her on the phone and told her vinegar. That's possible too.
It is.
Peggy K says, but she could have told her verbally and then sent her the text after she left. That's true. Yeah, I don't know.
It's interesting, if anything. It's just it's worthy of keeping in the back of your head, you know?
Right.
So Um, they don't have all of her calls listed um, on here. There's only, certain ones, but
Right.
that is a text message that's listed. They did not list a phone call, so I don't know.
Right. Hmm. I don't know.
So, as long as I'm on this page, I did find the statement that says, because we were talking about the smell of smoke. 133, it says Letitia made statements to investigators via text message that could be considered exculpatory in nature related to the presence of blood in the basement of their residence, as seen in the below text message. I have talked with investigators that were inside the Stout residence on 127, 128, and 129. There was no odor of smoke, no evidence of smoke. In fact, one detective noted the basement smelled like coconut and was very pleasant. Furthermore, I know that burns oftentimes do not produce wounds that bleed profusely. So she sent a text that said, it's so hard to read. When we came back inside from the smoke, there was blood on both of us. I didn't know what to do. I was scared I would get fussed out about it, and I didn't know if he should go to the doctor. I kept trying to add the candle thing, but Albert kept saying it was small and minor. I was scared the basement was smoky when I threw the covers on everything and we both had blood. That is the only mention of the candle in the affidavit. It is not by the police. It's a outgoing message
Right.
on 129
Well, why is she saying they both have blood? I mean,
because she got his blood on her.
well, yeah, I'm saying it, she just doesn't know. And I'm not encouraging bad behavior in any way. So, nobody, please don't take this the wrong way. Her stories just don't
Mm-hmm.
make sense.
No, they don't. They don't at all. Mm.
Not at all. So, Amy A. Moore says, look where she says Al wouldn't let her in. That's because he saw the candle and there was probably no evidence of a fire that Al saw. So,
Yeah.
what's interesting about the candle thing, what's really interesting about it is that the DA and law enforcement doesn't seem to find it relevant, right?
Mm-mm.
It
No.
doesn't seem to be a mitigating factor in Gannon's deaths. It's not listed anywhere in the affidavit.
If anything, what they did was they danced around the subject by dispelling it in little subtle ways. There was no smell of smoke. There was no evidence of smoke. That kind of stuff. So, and also, uh, you know, saying that, what? Furthermore, I know that burns oftentimes do not produce wounds that bleed profusely. So they're just dispelling it right there. They're not saying anything else. They might have some other stuff. It's just not included in here. But they're definitely shutting it down.
Right.
Definitely shutting it down.
Right. It's interesting. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely interesting. There's, to be honest, guys, I'm afraid of what we're gonna learn. It legitimately like makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah.
Hey, soul for music. Um, it makes me like nauseous to think what we're going to find out. And then I feel even worse for Landon
Right.
because
So do
that's
you,
her baby.
right. So I think what happens with a lot of us is that um, you go back to the first time you see her interview, right? The news station interview. And you think about the first time we saw that and how we talked about it. And there was, we said, oh, there's just something not right. This doesn't sound right. It gave you that icky feeling, right? And now, knowing what we know, you go back and watch that same interview and you want to vomit
Oh, it's sick.
because now we don't have all the details, but we filled it in. And it's I'm afraid that this is one of those cases that as it builds and we're filling in little cracks in the foundation, so to speak, we get those
Right.
little things. It just becomes overwhelming because it's just everything compounded. And I think you're right. This is probably going to be a lot darker than we would have ever been able to imagine. And quite honestly, I'm glad I can't imagine stuff like that. Really. It, I don't I don't know how remember when and I'm not comparing the cases. I'm just going to pick a case that most of us know. Chris Watts on the front porch shifting his weight or whatever. At least he wasn't on camera that long. She just went on and on and on. Like how she could stand there without her knees buckling and almost passing out is beyond me. That is a sick, sick, sick person.
Yeah. Well, and then to think that,
Yeah, Reagan just said it. Yeah, especially her wanting an apology. Like how sick. Yeah.
right.
Sharma Lily, ugh, there's things that we've thought about with how the smell wasn't noticed. You got to remember it was very cold in Colorado.
Right.
So,
Right. It's okay, Marissa. We're going to wrap it up soon, anyways. We'll probably be done in about 10 minutes here. We just wanted to come on and chat with you guys and see what everyone thought. Just some different things that we picked up that were interesting.
right. And in the past you guys have wanted to talk about Harley and we've said, "Oh no, 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 she's off limits." At
Right.
least on this channel. So, you
Yeah.
know,
That was a line I wasn't willing to
right.
cross.
Well, neither one of us. I mean,
Right.
it is
Right.
a
Yeah.
child. So, um it will be interesting. We're still waiting for the electronic transmission report to come up that should be released. I mean, they had thought it would be 3 to 5 days, and that was weeks ago. So there's no motions to. I mean, there's no more motions to like overturn that or blah blah blah. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that will definitely fill in some gaps for us because we'll know where everybody's phone was or whatever. And so as long as we're talking about phones, um, Danielle brought up tonight, where is Harley's phone and when did they take that?
Yeah. That would be interesting to know. I think that's something that's just not, we don't know right now.
Mhm.
There's a lot we don't know, and it leaves a lot of room for speculation, unfortunately.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. It's just the name of the game here. There's a lot of questions that need answered. A lot. A lot.
Sulfur Music chose Gordon Ramsay over us.
Oh,
Teasing. Oh,
my son, my 11-year-old loves Gordon Ramsay.
that's so funny.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
funny.
you guys, are so nice. We love spending the quarantine team. What am I doing?
We got a new name.
Quarantine
Quarantine
team.
team.
I can't even talk. I was just thinking, I was like, how am I going to be very quiet and sneak in and grab my coffee? I'm not even going to pretend. We're about to wrap it up. It's for life. I need it. I'm losing my voice. And I'm also, the squirrels have entered my brain. So.
Yeah. Charlotte Griffin said H may be a suspect, but not sorry, but they
I was
may
going to
not be
say,
able to release it because she was a minor at the time. I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts. I actually keep a lot of my thoughts to myself. Aw, they go low, you go high. Absolutely, and Meta. Absolutely.
oh,
Um,
please, Tracy, if you only knew how late we stay up sometimes. It's horrid.
so
The horror and horrible.
I'm sharing links on there. There's a link to Gannon's Facebook group. There's a link to our public page. Um, we do share a lot of information and discussion in there if anybody wants to
Yeah, if
join.
you guys aren't in the Facebook group, you really should. If you use Facebook, join the group because you're going to get information. A lot of times we're trying to find a perfect balance. It's my fault we haven't been on here in the past couple of days because I've had some stuff going on. But there tends to be a shift between like, oh, there's a lot going on in the Facebook group. And so it seems like, and we think, oh, we need to go live, but it's all here,
Right, right.
So yeah, please. There's a lot of information that goes in there. And um, when everybody has their thoughts in one place and, are sharing their ideas and talking things out, a lot of neat stuff happens.
Yes. And
So
thank you, Peggy K. She said that she loves that we keep the Facebook group as drama free as possible. We appreciate that. We try really hard to have no drama, no arguing. Um, we're not tyrants, but it's just not the place.
mm-mm.
It's just not.
No.
The group is to talk about Gannon's case. It's not to talk about other people or to argue with other people on the internet. That completely defeats the purpose of the
No.
of this group. So
I don't, and I will speak for Danielle on this. Neither one of us has any interest in engaging in drama or back and forth with other channels, other people. If you come in there and you like us, great. If you don't, then just leave. That's
right.
fine. We're not for everybody. We get it.
We're not. We're all adults too, so we appreciate it when we act like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There's too
And
much negative in this world. Let's be positive. Let's be nice to each other.
right.
If you cannot agree with somebody else, just scroll on by. And that goes for YouTube as well, because all you're doing, honestly, is, if you leave a nasty comment, you're probably never going to be able to comment on the channel again.
Right.
Or same as the Facebook group. There's zero tolerance for it. It's not what we're here for. There's enough
Right.
negative in life. Let's be positive and focus on the main goal, which is justice for Gannon. And that's what it's about.
Right.
So,
Right.
to all of the new people in the chat, it's great to see you guys here. Thanks for joining us. We do have some other more well-constructed lives planned, I promise. This was kind of spur of the moment because we've been quiet and
we've just had a lot. We're real people. We have stuff that goes on in our lives.
We do.
And we want to come to you with like good energy and good information. And I'm glad we all got together today. Joni, I have been worried about you, girl. Where have you been?
Oh, Joan, hey.
Joni.
Hey.
You guys have explaining to do. I was worried about you. You haven't seen you in so long.
Yeah.
Sparta, you're right. If you argue with other members, you take the focus off Gannon. That's true.
Yeah.
And if you argue with other channels. There's just no point. Let's all do our thing.
Yes, absolutely. So, on that note, if you guys want to light that chat up blue for Gannon, remember why we're here. We are speculating, we are talking about a case, and we'll continue talking about the case until the very end, where we have some different, like I said, different discussions planned. And
Mm-hmm.
like Ann Mata said, pray for mommy ramblings as well.
Yes.
I did just actually check that text message that you had sent. Somebody else had said mommy ramblings had said something different, but um or that, her son may have passed away. Again, her husband left a comment that said, "This is Jimmy. Please pray for Carolyn. She will be having the toughest time of her life. I will make sure she gets a personal message to you ramblers later or tomorrow. She will need you all in the near future. Love and appreciation." So remember her tonight. Send her some positive vibes, prayers, whatever you believe in. It doesn't matter as long as it's positive and it's good energy. Um,
Right.
Send her some love, good thoughts. Um,
So there's the people that are saying, wait, not you people, but you people. I don't mean like that. When we don't know any more than what Danielle just said. Apparently, this is what we got in a group message tonight from somebody trustworthy, is that she was on a live and she said she had to go because I can't even say the words. Her son might be deceased. I think and then her husband left some messages online, and
oh,
Danielle just read those.
Maui
So,
girl just said her live is still going. It didn't shut off. Mommy Ramblings said my son might be dead. So, wow, guys.
mhm.
Yeah, send her whatever you believe in. Send her
Yeah.
all the positive energy her way.
Hmm.
And just, count your blessings.
Yeah,
Count your blessings.
definitely.
Yeah.
So thank you, Shannon, and thank you, Joe, Car Guy 72,
Yeah.
Amanda,
Huge thank
Texas
you to
Gal.
True Helper, Car Guy 72, Amanda,
Uh-huh.
Texas Girl, and SE Gen X, aka Shannon. Thank you for modding tonight and all of your help, guys. You are amazing. We love you. Um,
Yes. And for all our old friends that reunited with us tonight,
yeah,
it's
so
we
happy to see all of you down there.
mhm.
You're amazing.
And all the new people, I'm looking forward to getting to know you. So,
Yes.
including you, Christine Seeley, new here. Yay. Welcome. And Reagan.
Oh, we love you
Yeah.
too, Shannon, so
So,
much. Yeah, poor mommy
all
ramblings,
right.
I can imagine.
So, I
So,
guess on that note, we'll say good night
yes. Good night,
and
guys. Talk to you soon.
talk to you soon.
Bye, Amy.
Bye.